Moti.
Source of influencers.
Did it ever happen that another plastic surgeon messed something up and that you had to fix it?
Well, certainly, I do, being a facial specialist, I do a lot of revision work, meaning people come to me when they're not happy with work they've had elsewhere. So yeah, that happens a lot where I'm fixing something that somebody else had done somewhere else, fixing somebody's nose, fixing their face, their neck and jawline, fixing their implants, chin implants, cheek implants, that kind of thing. So that does happen a lot. It happens a fair amount.
And what do you advise to people who want to do a plastic surgery? Where do they have to look for if they want to do it?
I always recommend, first thing, they should find a board certified facial plastic surgeon if they're having facial work done. And if they're having body work done, they should find a board certified plastic surgeon. There's a difference. There's a lot of complex, tricky terminology out there. People call themselves different things, but the most important qualification a face surgeon can have would be a board certified facial plastic surgeon, and that's different than a board certified cosmetic surgeon. It's different than a facial surgeon. It's got to be board certified facial plastic surgeon. So people should be aware of that term.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference. That's the only board certification that credentials facial specialists. It's the only one. There are other terminology. So to call yourself something else doesn't require the same type of training and experience. But to call yourself a board certified facial plastic surgeon requires a very specific amount of training and experience to get that credentialing.
But are the other people also allowed to do surgery?
They're allowed to, yeah. I'm allowed to do brain surgery. I have a license to do surgery. I can do brain surgery, I could do heart surgery if I wanted to. I would never do that. I would never even think about doing that, but I'm allowed to. Legally, I can do that. So legally, if you have your license, you can do anything you want in medicine. It's it's a situation that really requires a lot of integrity in the doctors doing what they are trained to do.
Do you think there should be changed anything in the law?
You know, I don't want to comment on whether things should be changed in the law, but I think there are probably a lot of doctors who would agree that that regulation should be a little bit tighter, because to do surgery on somebody for whatever area you're doing surgery on that person, or even any kind of treatments to that person, you really should know the anatomy very thoroughly, all the structures underneath the skin that you can't see from the outside. And if you're not fully trained appropriately, you might not know those areas, and bad things can happen if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't really know what you're doing. In America, when you finish medical school, you get your license to practice. And when you get a license, you have a license to practice medicine. You could practice anything. There's no laws dictating what you can and cannot practice. So once you have your license, now that's when you finish medical school. That's before you've gone off and done any specialty training. So doctors with integrity do their specialty training for 5 or 7 or 10 years or whatever it is, and then they practice within that lane. But there are a lot of people who will just get their license and then not do any specialty training in anything and just start practicing. And there are doctors who will do specialty training in one thing, but then realize, I'm not making enough money or whatever, and then start practicing something else without the appropriate experience. And so there are many doctors who would say, see a doctor who's board certified in the specialty that they are working in. So for example, if you were going to get your heart surgery, you should go to a board certified heart surgeon. If you're going to get your brain operated on, you should go to a board certified brain surgeon, right? If you're going to get your face operated on, you should go to a board certified face surgeon. You don't want the heart surgeon doing your face surgery. You don't want the face surgery doing your heart surgery. Understand? So in a more general term, for example, teachers become they get most teachers are a specialist in what they teach. Philosophy. If you go to college, your teacher you might have a philosophy teacher. You don't want that teacher teaching you math, even though they're both teachers. They teach different things, and their specialties are in different things. Well, it's kind of a similar analogy.
Follow the Moti on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.